What is up? This is the DigiByte Comm Talk. I'm your host, Script Skynet, as you all know. And my special guest with me is, he's going to do some TA, but this is Matthew D, okay? And I want him to tell his story, and that's what we're going to talk about. Matthew, how did you get into crypto, and tell us all about that.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. My name is Matthew D. I first really got into crypto pretty much at the peak of the 2017 bull run, right at that peak euphoria. All my friends were talking about it. My friend bought one Ethereum for $1,300. I was like, he had a Coinbase account, and he's like, hey, you got to get on this crypto train. It's going to the moon. Little did I know, we were already on the moon. We were past the moon. And yeah, so that was my introduction. I FOMO'd in, and I definitely back then I was fresh out of college after a year or two. I didn't have much money to really put into cryptocurrency. It was just kind of this fun thing. Hey, I could Venmo a friend of mine $50 and he could send me, back then $50 was 25 XRP. And hey, what a ripoff that is, But yeah, so that was kind of the early days. Was early 2018. I opened a Binance account back when you could trade on regular Binance, and had some fun losing basically $50 here, $50 there. And yeah, I just kind of learned what an exchange looked like and how to place a trade. And the early days were spent losing money. Not a lot, thankfully. But that was kind of the introduction. I had first back in 2013 on the news with the Silk Road and stuff, and I had, just heard about it back then. But the first real interaction was, that peak in 2017 and 2018.
Wow.
So
yeah. That sounds like so it sounds like you wanted to get to starting to trade or learn how to, right? Is that what that turned you on to? Not so much investing, but trading?
Yeah. So another early thing that I kind of experienced back then was a friend of mine had added me to this Facebook group who, they're called Coin Hawks or something. And it's like 150 people in his local area. And they were all just doing, TA. They were posting these charts with just weird lines on them. And, they were telling people like, hey, there's a good opportunity on Ethereum Classic, or, and I had no idea what I was looking at, but, I went on my Coinbase account and bought $50 worth of Ethereum Classic. And then I made $20 in a couple of weeks. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of the early experience with, opening an exchange account, seeing what it was all about. And, I also learned back then that the term HODL meant something, and I learned what that was about. So, I basically just started building that HODL portfolio as the great FOMO happened, and then the eventual crash in November 2018. And I really wouldn't say I picked up like actively trading and really like successfully trading for about another year after that great crash in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
But that was kind of the early start, was 2018, just buying, every once in a while, sort of like an investment, how you just dollar cost average and stuff. And the addiction was real. I mean, I kept checking the price, like a lot of new crypto investors do. And I just was like checking the price so much that these TA videos started getting recommended on YouTube.
So you kind of I think you kind of started when I started, the end of 2017, the beginning of 2018 crash. That's basically when I was turned on to it with a roommate of mine said, and all the money's being made in crypto. And I was like, what are you talking? What's crypto, And I think you would vouch for this. I was watching Coinbase Pro and watching Bitcoin just go to the moon, and then Litecoin and all these cryptos, right? And then crashing as hard as fast as they went up, right?
Yeah.
Man, I didn't understand the order book. I didn't understand none of that. All I was doing is just watching Coinbase Pro just like green gobbling up red. You know what I mean? Like that's all I saw, right? I was like, dude, I am something far beyond my head. But I mean, over the years past, I think we both have two different stories to tell. I basically settled with, from Bitcoin, Litecoin to DigiByte and got into the DigiByte community as much as I could and try to be a pillar in the community, just trying to be a friendly, and then later on, I think I learned about, well, I'm still learning. For sure, I'm still learning. But I painted myself as an open book to the community with this YouTube channel and basically throw all my flaws out there, all my likes, my dislikes, and really, and do stuff like this that I like. But we want to hear your story. So how did you go from, because we met in a Discord channel, really, and on a YouTube channel. So I'm gonna let you tell that story because it was kind of a briefly meeting,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so the YouTube channel I think you're referring to is Mitch Ray, TA. I found Mitch, like I was saying, just checking the darn crypto price so much, like these TA videos started, coming up, and I June of 2019, Mitch was this guy on YouTube. He was wearing a space helmet. He was wearing his V-Chain Moonboy helmet.
I remember that.
Chugging beers, throwing beers back. I'm like, the heck is this guy with his candlesticks and his, funny hats? And it was just this kind of weird corner of the internet that was talking about price analysis on a chart in cryptocurrency, which I had been dollar cost averaging into for like a year and a half at that point. So I was seeing like, him starting to set up trades and, understanding that technical analysis, it's not about certainties, it's just about probabilities, and it's about seeing previous events that keep playing out over and over and over again in market cycles, and just trying to replicate that, and it's about finding those low risk, high reward opportunities. It's about managing your risk. It's about really fundamentally sound concepts that you can repeat over many trades. And it's not just in crypto, it's across stocks, metals, forex. And that's kind of, I think, how we ended up tying in was through Mitch and just through TA. And myself personally, I really value the skill set that he's given me and given a lot of other people. It's kind of a lifelong knowledge set that you can build on, and you can continue to grow your own wealth. And just for me, it's all about the skill set. It's not so much about money. Money is a byproduct. It's all dirty green paper at the end of the day. But if I can build a skill set, that's worth more to me than anything, I think. So
no, I think you're absolutely right, because I think how I came about it was I needed to learn more about crypto from the beginning. After I saw the money side of things going up and down and pump and basically crash,
Mm-hmm.
had all my friends telling me, "Hey, it's a tulip, it's a bubble. They don't know anything about crypto," but yet I was learning how to mine it, how to freaking get as much as I can, buy as much as I can. Should mining be the way? Should buying be the way? Should I do both? And it just more and more I was doing that. I was learning how blockchain works. I was going basically in debt to my eyeballs, but I didn't care because I knew this was the change the world was going to go. I mean, this was the direction. So
yeah,
I watched a lot of TA YouTubers, but I only hung on to a few of them. And now over the course of time, you get like, Mitch Ray, really showing it how to do TA. I mean, and then eventually, I'm big into Crown Crypto Cave, so Crown's Crypto Cave. But I'm
Mhm.
both those guys. Like I think I stumbled on the Ray after Crown, but both those guys they come in a different aspect of how risk management, and but they still they have their indicators. But I think Mitch uses more of patterns than Crown. Crown
Yeah,
uses the indicators, and
yeah.
you know
Crown's a range trader. He
yeah,
looks
he's right.
for like this range in this particular area, and then he'll timescale hop. He'll look at the 1 hour all the way up to like the daily, the weekly, and he looks at different assets too. And Crown's a really and he started out as an options trader too. So,
Right.
you know, I've started to over the last 6 months started to almost a year at this point now. Actually, time's getting away from me, but started to dabble into options too, and that's a fun little world. It's just something to complement a stock portfolio if you had the time to look into that. But I mean, Eric Crown, he's awesome. I like watching his very not safe for work, TA streams, because he does like an hour static video and he'll put that up there. And, I just scrub through the fast forward button and look for the charts that I want to see. Because at this point, I know what the charts look like. I know when he's looking at Bitcoin versus Ethereum and all that stuff. And
Man, I learned a lot from Crown. I wish I could obtain his knowledge. And when I compare it with Mitch Ray, like, look, I don't skip none of it. I recently skipped one of Mitch's because I was like actually looking to see if anybody brought up DigiByte, but then I just went back and replayed the whole thing. I love them both, man. These are the guys that, because the few TA guys that I'll tell them, Dan from Crypto Capital Venture, mainly Bitcoin right now. He's on an ADA kick, and then you have Tyler S, which is Bitcoin and whatever else he wants to talk about, and Ethereum basically. And then you have Crypto Kirby. Man, I learned a lot from him too, but he's always he is more bearish, but you know what? Being more bearish just keeps you on the safer side of things. But they leverage trade. Four flies. If I leave anybody out, I really don't care. But I really just stick with Mitch and Crown.
Yeah, definitely. And what worked for me, I needed sort of, I mean, I started with the chart guys. I forget his name.
No, the chart guy. Hey, he's cool.
I think it's Dan, I think. But
cool.
I watched him for about 6 months before I even found Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
And he just taught me support resistance, look left. This is a range. This is a falling wedge. This is a triangle. A lot of really foundational concepts. But he's more of a day trader. He looks for kind of the more micro picture in the market.
And he says that. He says he's a day trader.
oh yeah, definitely. But he's a darn good one. I mean, he called the top on the I don't want to say called the top, but he basically said it like it was when Tilray was short squeezing, and Tilray's a pot stock that just, I think it short squeezed or gamma squeezed or whatever. And yeah, that event caused this major sell off. It was like a big buying climax, and then after that, I've been watching those stocks for a while now, and they're showing reversal signs, but they're not catching any bids, and they're still dumping. So, that was a really good call on his part, and it's stuff like that I look for from those guys. It's like the 5 seconds of their experience kind of in a snippet, and I pop around to the different guys, but for me, it's the biggest value was just watching them for 6 months, and then finding Mitch and watching him straight for a year. And it's just the repeated coming back day after day to learn that stuff, because you have to treat it almost like a job. And I had the benefit to where I could do that, to where I could come back every day or every other day and just continue to see what they're talking about and see how they're looking at these charts.
I think for me, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a Christian. For me, it's hard for me to watch two guys that, you know, blaspheme the Lord. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I chimed in with a bunch of stuff, but anyway, the thing is, like, you're never going to learn from a better group of guys. Especially, I'm in the Mitch Ray Discord and the Crown's Crypto Cave Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm telling you guys, I mean, I've never learned as much as I have from them. Now, there is one thing, I mean, Mitch Ray, Crown, they're my top two guys. I mean, but there is one, you know, Dan from Crypto Capital Venture, right? Do you know him?
I don't say I can't say I've ever seen his stuff, so it's not ringing a bell for me.
He really likes Fibonacci's, and he's been nailing every Fibonacci call.
Okay.
But the Fibonacci's is basically, you know, more or less a target range.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I mean, I wanted you on here because Mitch Ray always shouts you out when I ask for DigiByte charts. He's like, DigiByte. Matthew D is our glorified DigiByte.
Yeah, definitely.
Charter. So we're gonna want to do that here shortly. So you got something for DigiByte that you worked up for the past hour and a half?
Yeah, I think I started around about an hour and a half ago. Yeah, and started just making a little PowerPoint presentation, but I can pop over to that and just talk a little bit about, you know.
Before we do, mm-hmm. I just want to let everybody know that, you know, we're not financial advisors. You know, here's the thing. Everything you do is on you, and everything that we do is on us. But here's the thing. You got to understand the market is a living, breathing entity. And here's the thing. We can only look for that edge is all we can do, and learn what we can from the greats. So that's why I got Matthew D here. And I'm just going to basically let Matthew D take over. Is that okay with you, Matthew?
That's fair. Yeah, I can, I can ramble on, and, you know, we can talk back and forth too. If you have any questions, just feel free to interrupt me.
No, sure.
Yeah. So
I'll interrupt you. Hey, this is my show, but really our show, because it's the DigiByte Comm Talk. It's the DigiByte community, man.
For sure. Yeah. That's what.
Explain why you love DigiByte so much. I don't think everybody knows that.
Sorry, I kind of just got lost in the TA ramble, but okay. So everybody's got skeletons in their closet, right? I don't know, you know, depending if it's a ex-girlfriend or it's a car that you wrecked 10 years ago, you know, everybody's got those events. and me as a, you know, you could call me a crypto trader, you could, you know, whatever. I just like charting, you know, that's ultimately my main love. But DigiByte is amazing to me because it has all of the fundamental principles of Bitcoin, but it's like, it's this smaller thing. It's this little corner of crypto that it doesn't get a lot of attention and hype. It's kind of just slowly dragged along through the years, and it's just been the thing that nobody's really talking about. And to me, that says something. That's like, you know, that to me says like, hey, pay attention to that thing over there that nobody's talking about. So, you know, I started looking into it. I found Jared Tate, and I just gobbled up all the podcasts I could listen to. You know, I was telling you, Script, that, you know, your video with him, I watched it 3 or 4 times, and I'll probably watch it 3 or 4 more times because, you know, he's just such a great speaker. And I love those people who can basically take the stage and just deliver the information in such a, you know, good way. It's almost like you're taking a college course when they're speaking.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, dude. There's a lot to unpack in that interview, man. I was trying to gear him in an understanding that we can all know, because like peering into the blockchain, like I made that specific, like I understood 5 algorithms. Yeah. You know, faster transactions. I really wanted him to explain how it worked and how it was operating. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's the tough part. That's where you start getting into computer programming, and it's its own field. And he's honestly inspired me to kind of want to do that as like a next step in my career, possibly. Yeah. You know, that's, you know, 5-year plan, 10-year plan type thing. But that's beyond this, I think. But he's just a very inspiring individual. But anyways, DigiByte is, like I said, this small little corner of the crypto sphere. It's been around since January 2014, I think. Yeah, 2014. And yeah, to me, it's got all the principles that make Bitcoin awesome, but it's just better. it's better, faster, and stronger. And I love using DigiByte.
People poke at the what do you call it?
Oh, the Blazord memes, the GIFs and stuff like that.
No. They point.
Oh.
No, I'm talking about the blockchain itself.
Like the multi-algo mining? Is that what you're thinking of?
No, not really that either. The mining with where it mines so fast that the Coinbase code in the Bitcoin blockchain, it gets a lot of like bad input, but the computers are so fast, the DigiByte blockchain is so fast, it just recalculates to the blocks that it needs to be. Are you a miner? Do you understand it?
Not necessarily. I've scraped the surface with that stuff. Like I said, I just like charting, and my main sort of education has just been around charting and really price analysis. And to be honest, that's why I've really started looking, to what the next steps are, because, okay, I got this price thing, down, but that's really just the price. And, I kind of get sick of talking about it after a while.
Yeah. So basically I was talking about the orphan blocks, how there's a bunch of orphan blocks. Usually on blockchains, miners mine and they get orphan blocks. It was an unsatisfactory code that, mathematically it was going to give you a reward. But with 5 algorithms, you're talking 5 algorithms talking to each other while everybody's mining equally. 20% divided by 5 out of 100% equal rewards. And all those orphans are happening because the Coinbase code, it's called Coinbase. It's not associated with Coinbase.
Oh, okay. I was confused. I thought it was like directly related to Coinbase's, because they do like inner wallet transfers and things like that. But
they do that.
Yeah.
But it's a code within blockchain itself.
Okay.
But the orphan blocks, the more orphan blocks you get on one algorithm means another pool is out, mathematically confirming you. So there are a bunch of dead routes. Is basically your miner is trying to solve the mystery code of the next reward, right? Mm-hmm. And you get an orphan block at the end. So it has to start all over. So
okay, so whenever the nodes basically come to agreement that this is the one solution, then
they all are on that one solution, and they equally split out that confirmation code. Yeah, or
gotcha.
the transactions.
And then the miners come to that orphan block.
When they come to the orphan block, it means that their miner failed, right?
Okay, and it didn't get the block reward.
Yeah, that's like someone like backing out on a send or something, or confirmation, like, oh, I'm going to send it. Oh, like, could be many things, tax fees and all that stuff in the blockchain code itself.
Yeah, I sort of follow.
Like another miner solves it before that miner, so that other miner hits a dead wall, and it's called orphan block.
Yeah, so it hits a dead wall.
Yeah, it discovers. In DigiByte, though, everything's happening so fast. In order to be scaled 15 seconds, everything has to be orphaned just to get the miners all equally distributed. That's why it's so decentralized. So all the miners are trying to get rewards, but at the same time, they're mining mathematical equations so fast for the transaction rewards that there's going to be a ton of orphan blocks in your stream on your pool.
Yeah.
But everybody finds a reward. So that's what I like about DigiByte.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I know, oh man, I just got a cramp. Oh, sorry. I'm human too, guys. Yeah, I just got a cramp. I've been standing up in the hot sun all day. I'm still drinking a lot of water.
Okay.
But yeah, so I think during when Jared was on here, you guys were talking about how DigiByte was like coming up against the actual latency of the internet, and it was like challenging that somehow. And I found that kind of interesting.
It had to reduce. Digibyte was so fast it had to come back down to the latency of the internet. So Digibyte's speed was obviously could have gone a lot faster, except in order to be fast on the latency of the internet, it had to be equaled out to what the output was for the internet. So it equaled out. There's no reason to be over expedient of the internet. That would give that would get an exuberant lag, right? Just like if you're slower to the internet, it would give you lag.
Yeah, it's just like putting water through a pipe. You can only put so much water through that pipe. That pipe's not going to get any larger. That's exactly kind of how I think about it.
That volume coming out of that pipe, but there has to be a little bit of air in there to give you the volume. Otherwise, it's stuck. It's kind of like a straw. When you go like this, there's water in there, right? But
oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Actually,
it's a vacuum. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a vacuum.
But if there was no, air in, if there was air in there, that water would just flow out. I gotcha. Yeah, and that, that's definitely a little education segment for me at least. And thanks for letting me know.
I got 2 drinks here, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, and I'm just drinking water, trying to fight these cramps over here.
Got some tea, grape juice. So yeah, let me chime in on this because this seems educational right here.
Yeah, what's that?
Colin says orphan chains are when 2 miners solve the puzzle at the same time and begin to propagate the solution the same time. Both chains are hashed until its first chain reaches 51% consistency.
Okay, so the nodes, whoever basically reaches the most nodes at that point would probably get the block reward. I take it.
And that's basically what I was trying to say. It's just, there you go.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty neat, and it happens every 10 to 15 seconds. That's super fast. That's so fast.
Yeah, thanks, Colin, for chiming in and making that known. We love that.
Yeah. So yeah, we can screen share.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so I just made a quick little 5-slide deal here. Yeah, so DigiByte technical analysis, it's kind of what this is about. It's for me, as you can just call me a crypto trader. I just like charting. I look at charts across all markets, whether it's crypto, whether it's stocks, whether it's Forex. I had a little bit of a foray into Forex last fall. It didn't turn out so well. I just didn't like the 24/7 aspect of it when I was already involved in crypto. So, yeah. And I want to talk about the past history of DigiByte. There's the full price history is available on charts.cointrader.pro. It's a aggregate. It's got the Poloniex data from yesteryear, back before Poloniex delisted and all those shenanigans went down. Kind of already talked about number 2 when I found DigiByte. We could zoom in to that point in the chart and kind of what I was seeing and how it all unfolded. Then we can zoom into DigiByte right now, kind of what I think is going on with it. I want to look at the Bitcoin pair and the USD pair. And then, we've kind of already talked about, number 4, the importance of DigiByte. But, right now, especially with, again, those shenanigans, we were seeing a lot of Bitcoin mining failure, or just a lot of Bitcoin mining FUD coming around mid-April.
Definitely FUD.
Yeah, it was a lot of FUD. And
happy.
Yeah, I definitely think that moving forward, it's just important to consider, because that's going to affect how the market moves. And I think it also affects how DigiByte can, either be successful or, be not as successful as some of the other altcoins out there. But overall, I think the importance of DigiByte is, it's kind of that survivor bias. It's been around since 2014. The price is really stabilized, in my opinion, just based on the charts. And I think as history moves on and as the survivor bias continues to grow, DigiByte will continue to grow in importance. It's what was around yesterday, still around today, can also be around tomorrow. It's kind of what I'm getting at. And down here, it's not financial advice. I got to say it. I'm not a financial advisor. I just like charting. It's for entertainment and education, just like Script was talking about. So a lot of my TA is kind of done in the context of what's called the Wyckoff method. And this was first brought about back in like the 1920s and the 1930s by R.D. Wyckoff. He was a stock operator, and he's written a couple books, but he's, his name is on this, sort of school of technical analysis. And that's what charting is all about. It's about, technical analysis and using previously repeated patterns to sort of understand the context of where a particular asset is at in its sort of price cycle or price history. So down here we have accumulation. That's kind of where things are at the bottom. To me, this is a reminder of November, December 2018, and also March of 2020. That's where conditions are oversold. You're seeing the articles on, on all the news sites saying that Bitcoin's dead, and in this case, DigiByte's following along with it. And then you have your markup phase. And during this markup phase, that's where a lot of the time you'll see these sideways ranges or bull flags or reaccumulation periods where the price will stop and there will be a range, and then you can follow the range, and sort of, do technical analysis and understand the behavior patterns that are going on within that trading range and follow the supply and the demand. That's what this is kind of about.
Yeah.
And during that markup phase, demand is greater than supply, and so the buys are outpacing the sells until you reach the distribution area. And that's kind of, what people are sort of, discussing right now is like, hey, is Bitcoin in this distribution, or are we in kind of that reaccumulation phase? It's always that big question. It's like, what point of the price cycle are we in right now? And as new data comes in, you can sort of, make your best guess and trade accordingly. And then, after distribution, you get into points where supply becomes greater than the demand, and the sells start happening, and eventually people capitulate until it happens all over again. And you can look at assets with history that goes back to the early 1900s. You can pull up the Dow Jones Industrial Chart, and you can watch this play out over and over and over again. And each time they have different characteristics and different things that you can learn from them.
Not to mention that, some of those things are kind of masked by the news that we have in the media.
Yeah, exactly. And, the news and the media and the FUD and things like that are really, it's almost tangential to technical analysis. A lot of the best chart artists and traders that I know of will say, if you can show me the chart and I'll tell you the news. Right now on US oil, you can draw a big falling wedge pattern on the monthly, and you can see bullish divergence that goes back to, what was it, like 2008?
Mm-hmm.
And, we're reaching an apex point on that falling wedge. You show me that chart and I can tell you, hey, I think, there's probably going to be a news event that might drive the price of oil up.
Right.
And we can sit here and bicker back and forth about, hey, this president did this, or this president's in office now, so that means the price of oil is going to go up. But no, I just look at the chart that goes back to 2008. I'm like, hey, the probability of of a markup happening is greater here than than not. So
I think that's a big missing puzzle piece between all this, because a lot of people do get moved, and we hear it over and over with real people that understand it, emotions. And that's where emotions come in, where
yeah,
people are saying buy now, but they're not looking at the technicals, and they
yeah,
just buy emotionally.
yeah, definitely. And the retail trader is probably a lot more emotional than a lot of the larger institutional interests, and that's I wanted to talk about that as well. In the Wyckoff method, there's you probably heard Mitch talk about it. It's the composite man or the composite operator or the composite female. Whatever your pronoun. I'm not gonna. This is
Right, that's the
something that
gag,
was
right? That's
yeah,
the joke, right? It doesn't
yeah,
really matter with mankind, right?
yeah. It's whoever is sitting behind the composite.
Yeah.
So the role of the composite man or the composite operator is it's almost like this one person who controls the market. And I have this quote here from Wyckoff. All the fluctuations in the market and in all the various stocks or coins in this case should be studied as if they were the result of one man's operations. Let us call him the composite man, who, in theory, sits behind the scenes and manipulates the stocks to your disadvantage if you do not understand the game as he plays it, and to your great profit if you do not understand it. So basically, it's just large institutional interests who they take positions over a larger period of time. Their time horizon is much greater than, let's say, like the day trader or the swing trader or the position trader. So it's kind of my job as somebody who's a retail operator to understand, like, hey, this is when the composite man is accumulating their position, and should things change, I can kind of look at the chart and see, okay, here's a change of behavior, from the composite man. What do I do? So that's the context that I basically trade in.
Well, that really explains a lot with, how we saw from, physical assets to tech assets, where the market was going. And you're basically saying Wyckoff has basically stumbled onto that nugget there.
Yeah, definitely. It's market rotation. So here's a couple of schematics that I just pulled from the internet. There's various sources where you can get these from, but these are reaccumulation schematics that are basically the pause in the markup phase, or they're these supply and demand points in an uptrend where you can see, we can look at probably a dozen S-coin charts, and they're all showing similar structures, especially, last fall into, the spring,
Yeah.
where you have these distribution points where the price will, reach this huge buying climax. It'll mark down and it'll kind of accumulate for a month, maybe 2 months, until, enough of the coins are locked up in that composite man's pocket where, demand outpaces supply and the price marks up again. And I first, saw these reaccumulation patterns last summer. Bitcoin was doing this almost to a T. This is kind of a reaccumulation after a shakeout.
Yep.
I saw it on the chart and I was like, hey, I pinged Mitch in the Discord. I'm like, hey, check this out. I drew up a chart of what I thought the idea was, and we were kind of at this point. We had just started to establish the creek, and the creek is kind of this. It's like a tightening action in progress, or as the trading range advances. And the price back then, people were freaking out when Bitcoin went from like 8,800 up to 8,950. It was like $150 move, and everybody was like, "It's happening! It's pumping!" Like that was a pump last summer, like straight up $150. Yeah, and that's the behavior, I think, of these trading ranges. It's like, it's this huge pause at can, you know, shake a lot of people out of the market and just create boredom. And especially as you advance towards the later stages, you know, you'll get these like, you know, shakeouts, which are called springs. So, you know, as the price kind of progresses, you'll get these shakeouts down to the bottom side of the trading range that, you know, they find support and they're real shaky. It's kind of like what's happening on Bitcoin right now, in my opinion.
I was going to say that. Doesn't the creek feel like a support, like a creek, like it's shaking people out at the same time? It's going down. It's kind of like a falling wedge, kind of like DigiByte 2. It's kind of like, wanting to develop some support.
Yeah, and I've got a couple, you know, we'll look at some charts for sure that, you know, kind of almost want to get to it right now. But yeah, so that's the reaccumulation. I just wanted to talk about that before I start showing you guys kind of what I think is going on. And then quick Wyckoff fundamentals, you know, it's about trading range analysis, you know, that pause in the uptrend where you have supply and demand sort of figuring itself out. We talked about the phases, or, you know, accumulation to distribution, and eventually the role of the composite operator, the large institutional interests. That's why I'm always looking at the volume behind these moves. And, you know, there's supply points in a trading range and there's demand points where I can kind of get a firmer grasp on what I think might be happening. So yeah, that's kind of what I had. I just wanted to give that, like, you know, PowerPoint, yeah, just to get the ideas out there before I start rambling about doing TA and stuff.
Dude, I think it's definitely needed. I mean, the more people that understand what's going on right now, because there's a lot of fear selling, man, and this is how people get shaked out because of news media about, you know, the composites and all that, and they don't understand it. They don't understand the compository. Right?
Yeah, the composite operator.
Composite operator.
Yeah, so, you know, and if you look at the news every day, you're going to find a lot of flaws. You look at it every week, you're going to find less flaws. If you look at it every month, you're going to find, you know, less flaws than that. So it's all about your time horizon. What are you comfortable buying and holding and sitting in for a long time? And, you know, for me, that's a long period of time because I'm a young person and I can, you know, I don't have to have a very short time preference like a lot of new crypto traders. Those are some of the people that have the shortest time preference I know of. So yeah, I just pulled up the, you know, the full price history of DigiByte. This is a really good looking chart. When I saw this chart, I was like, dang, this is a great chart to be, you know, I think trading. But anyways, so I first found DigiByte over here. It was like May and June of 2020. It was kind of after the run up and stuff.
Really? That's when you first bought it?
That's when I found it. Yeah. You know.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't open a Bittrex account until pretty much I, you know, joined Mitch's Patreon about a year ago now. So yeah, I've, you know, it's kind of been just something that developed a love for, or something that I've developed a love for as this reaccumulation here happened. Yeah, I think I first heard about DigiByte actually on Altcoin Daily. Those guys they came out with one of their videos and I checked it out and I started charting it and I, you know, found Jared Tate and then kind of went down the rabbit hole from there.
Altcoin Daily, dude, I would hound them. They would shout me out and I would hound them about DigiByte and they would always put me down with doesn't Bitcoin already exist? You know, like this.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, Matthew, continue explaining.
Yeah.
I just need to figure out what's going on back there. I'll be right back.
Yeah, totally.
Take over the audience. I'll be right back.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, DigiByte, this is DigiByte in log scale, which is basically just a compressed history. You know, there's, you know, we're up at 10 cents today, but back here, you know, I can't even, you know, less than a half a penny, way less than half a penny. So, you know, let's go back to regular numerical scale, just to kind of show you guys sort of that accumulation and distribution that I was talking about. And these are really sharp price swings. This was back when there wasn't many coins to trade. DigiByte was, very low liquidity and all that stuff. So, you had kind of the really long drawn out accumulation period here. It was just a lot of, what I would call scam wicks, just probably some pump and dump action going on. DigiByte was a brand new asset back then. So yeah, just a lot of this chop. And yeah, I mean, this to me, I look at it, it's like you have an accumulation rounding bottom here. Then you have this big buying climax with sort of this, what I would call a hypodermic top or a blow off top. And that's one form of distribution. It's like, where that composite operator, or in this case, it could be a whale, would just, market sell their coins. And that's one form of distribution. It's not a very nice form of distribution, I'll say that much, but it is one.
DigiByte Tether?
Yeah, this is just DigiByte to USD.
Okay.
So on chart, it's a charts.cointrader Pro. This isn't exactly like a tick for tick exchange.
Okay.
But I think it just aggregates the data, if I'm not mistaken, or, if my guess is correct. But, this is the Poloniex price history. So.
Oh, really? This is it? I'm sorry, guys, for being a slacker.
Oh, no, I didn't learn about this until a few months ago, actually. But, yeah, so I was just talking about, this is like the early days, back when we were less than half a cent, less than a quarter of a cent.
That's funny. Go back, go to the left.
You want to check this out?
Because zoom in down there on the far left where it's all red.
This epic scam wick?
Yeah, what's the price on the top of that red? The very top, last candle, yeah.
Yeah, right there.
What's that price?
1/10 of 1 cent. That's what it opened at.
Okay, now what year was that?
It's February 2014. That was the very first tick.
Where's 2017?
Oh,
2018.
You want to go to log scale? Check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way easier when we're going log.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, everything looks pumpy.
Yeah. I mean, well, and this is a log scale chart. We're up at 10 cents here. Yeah. This is that, basically the opening price down here at 1/10 of 1 cent. So, I mean, just since that day,
dude, yeah,
DigiByte's appreciated in value 7,000%.
7,000%.
Yeah, since 2014. So, yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just to kind of further kind of what I was talking about, the sort of the maturing of this market and in this asset, you saw that kind of that action back here, but here, you have a really big run up, and then you have this big distribution event, this big blow off top, where DigiByte kind of went sideways for a long time. And then I've never found a prettier cup with handle pattern than the one that's on this chart. But Script, if you want to check this out, I want to zoom into it. A cup with handle is actually a Thomas Bulkowski pattern, and he's more of a pattern trader who, he identifies structures like this. Basically, it's it just looks like a coffee cup. It's a cup with a handle.
That is definitely a cup and handle pattern.
It's beautiful. It's like the prettiest one I know of. Yeah, you have. Oh, geez, we're not on TradingView, guys. So bear with me.
What are we on?
We're on CoinTrader Pro. This is like it's like a TradingView engine.
See, I haven't been able to find the whole DigiByte chart history on TradingView at all.
Yeah, I'll link it to you in Discord when we're done with this for sure. But I don't know. You guys can see that. It's Yeah, but it's this cup with handle. It's basically just a rounding bottom with kind of a wedge or a channel kind
Do you
of
want
down
me? Do you
sloping.
want me to blow up the chart and remove ourselves so they can see it?
Can they see my chart right now?
They can see it, but they see me and you on the left, so I can blow up the screen so they can just see the chart.
Yeah,
Clear.
go to the chart.
All right, there you go.
Awesome. Yeah, so this cup with handle pattern, this was right before the buying climax for previous all-time highs, but it was a gorgeous pattern.
Yeah.
And this, to me, this really kind of gets to what, a reaccumulation phase is. It's almost like one of those distribution tops with this accumulation bottom, and then you have this Bolkowski pattern here. That's a beautiful cup with handle. And yeah, it led to the insane buying climax.
How long was that? How long was that, Matthew, from the first pump to the accumulation to the cup and handle? How many months?
Oh, are you talking about
From the
back
blow off top
in
to
June?
Yeah. How many months is that to the cup and handle pattern before we?
It was all about 6 months, so 191 days.
6 months. So half a year,
Mm-hmm.
and then it did it again.
Yeah, but so one of the things that I really kind of look to with charts is how a particular asset matures over time. Back here we were looking at those scam wicks and the pump and dump, and it was just on a liquid exchange, Poloniex. It didn't have much volume, so one random Telegram group could get together and say, "Hey, we're going to pump and dump this particular coin." I'm not saying DigiByte was a part of any pump and dump thing, but it might have been. Just based on that chart,
I can give you some history. What happened to one of these pumps was someone stated that DigiByte was being used for a gaming platform that that wasn't.
I do remember hearing an interview back in like 2016 or 2017 that Jared did about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But and this is all in the context of Bitcoin's price, and that's one important thing, is that Bitcoin has pretty much, it was the first cryptocurrency. It's kind of it's like the S&P 500 of the stock world. It's important to understand that this is all in the context of what Bitcoin does, because Bitcoin ultimately, in my opinion, is king. So, would DigiByte have had this insane buying climax if Bitcoin, didn't get get that huge pump into December of 2017? I don't think so. There's when the capital flows, it can kind of go from one asset to another. Particular interests can act together in certain ways that they're moving the price of these things, and DigiByte is fundamentally tied to the crypto market. So, but anyways, yeah, just over time, I kind of have studied this chart, and I've seen what I would consider a maturing of this asset, where you have less of these huge pumps and huge dumps, and you have more of this kind of textbook action.
Dude, that's exactly what I would tell the peeps, like the community.
Yeah.
Like, look, we're looking at stair steps now, and not so much of a pumps and dumps.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what reaccumulation is. It's actually called the stepping stone reaccumulation, where you have.
Dude, I did not know that.
That's what it's called. Yeah.
I did not know that, man. I just tell everybody, look, this looks like a step, and that looks like a step.
Yeah,
it's called.
Me? Yeah, it's called stepping stone reaccumulation. When you have
heard
these,
that, guys. You heard that, guys. Stepping stone reaccumulation.
Yeah, when you have these pauses in an uptrend where supply and demand kind of battles back and forth, and then the price marks up when enough of the coins in this case have been accumulated, the price will mark up as the composite man wills it, basically, and you'll have these events. I mean, this one was kind of interesting to me. This event, this was kind of like a one of those blow off top deals where you had some upsloping stuff.
Why is that? Why was it interesting to you?
We can look at this one on TradingView. I'll actually.
I remember. That's why I started doing it. I started doing it right that first step, that first little hill before it started bull flagging all the way up.
Yeah, I want to go over to TradingView. Enough of that. That was kind of the history lesson.
Okay.
But yeah, DigiByte's chart. I got Bitcoin on my other screen just because I'm watching it. We're at 42,390.
You know, I was going to tell you guys that Bitcoin looks like it's about to dump.
It's been looking like that though for the past 3 days.
Well, what I'm saying is that for the past 3 hours, it looks like it's about to dump again. And
yeah.
So real quick before you get into this chart, you think Bitcoin's going to hit 40,000, 39,000?
You know, it's been tossed around. I'm 50-50 at this point. You know, I had an idea back when we were at 44.5 that you couldn't fall below 44.5 or you're going to 38,000. We're not at 38,000 yet, so we're still holding the the prior buying climax from January, which is healthy in my opinion. You know, but locally, it doesn't flip a coin. I think it could dump down to 38K. You know,
so
if it falls, I think below,
too far.
I think if it falls below 42 with resounding volume, you'll probably see 38 to 35 in time. So
if it falls below 42,
yeah, possibly.
Now is this what is this? Is this like, are we in the midst of the 2 cycles previous?
What are you getting at with that?
Heavy accumulation in the middle of the bull run.
You know,
large correction in the middle of the bull run, and then we go up for another 6 months.
Yeah, possibly. I'm still holding out for the reaccumulation idea. But we can look at Bitcoin's chart right now.
But the reaccumulation idea is actually fitting with DigiByte, but the whole thing is everything's correlated with Bitcoin.
Pretty much, yeah. So I was talking a little bit about the spring idea, and it's really hard to see this as the price is so far. I mean, you've essentially broken below this trading range.
Exactly.
You really have to look at the hourly to see any kind of support whatsoever. I mean, you have. I got to get my bar up here.
I did notice that when you look, for everybody that doesn't know, when you look hourly, 2 hourly, 3 hourly, 4 hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, the candles change. The candle buys change. And that's how you basically figure out what he's saying. You pretty much got to look at the hourly.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the hourly it's a 60-minute tick. Every 60 minutes, a new candle is printed. Every, a 4-hour chart. I just popped over the 2-hour chart, but every 4-hour chart, a new candle is printed every 4 hours. And the higher the time frame, the more significant it is. So if you're basically an investor, looking for a long-term hold or something, the weekly chart is probably all you're going to care about. If you're a day trader, you might be looking at like the 5 and 15-minute charts, but those are just less reliable than even the 60-minute or the 4-hour. So me personally, I prefer looking at like the 4-hour, the 12-hour, and the daily. And then the weekly too, if it's going to strengthen my argument for a trade. But basically just to Bitcoin's current price action, what I think is going on here, you have this pretty mature trading range at this point that you can draw like this, which, you have a buying climax up here, and then this is kind of your sell-off point down here. A bit of an alternative idea, and this is kind of more of the, Wyckoff method teachings, or kind of how I think Wyckoff would draw the channel. See this big green volume bar here?
Yeah.
do you remember kind of when that happened, when those buys came in? It was this initial sell-off after we hit 58K. There was I want to say it happened on like one 5-minute candle, but you had this huge wick from this massive volume spike. And that to me is indicative of like, hey, we need to buy this thing. It was urgent buying that came in when the price hit a certain level. So, you can draw a trading range based on that. So you have your sell-off, and then you have your automatic rally. And it's like, bam, volume came in, and it, wicked up to 52,000, and then you have this sort of automatic rally. You could draw it down here, but just for argument's sake, 54.9 or 55K seems like that. Yeah, it seems like a pretty interesting area to draw a trading range.
I think that people want, that's the funny thing is I was thinking that could have been, either Elon Musk or a bunch of trading boys, or just people wanted to make sure this thing was going to be going up.
Yeah. So regardless, I mean, you can see the price action correlation to that one event in history. This is basically the demand bar. And I'm looking at the hourly just because, that's kind of what I'm left to with regards to the supply and the demand. I can watch the supply and the demand happen a little bit easier on these shorter term time frames. I'm not necessarily trading my momentum oscillators off of them, but you can get a good idea of what a trading range could potentially look like.
Right, but make it simpler.
Yeah, pretty much. But this is my idea of what a potential trading range on Bitcoin could look like. And I mean, you have sort of just some nice price action to this event here. You have a lot of action above the range, and you have a lot of relationship to some support came in here and here. You have some resistance, and then you have a pretty well-defined distribution event. I was watching the 1 minute chart up here as we were kind of up thrusting from this little range here, and I was telling people like, hey, this kind of looks like distribution. That's what's cool about the Wyckoff method, is that it isn't just exclusive to the most significant of time scales. You can zoom in, you can go to the 5 minute, you can go to the 15 minute, and these sort of schematics will play out over and over again. And as I'm saying, this Bitcoin is, we're at 41.7 now. So yeah, it looks like we're probably going to the downside a little bit further. Yeah, this kind of sucks because to me, I mean, this kind of throws the spring and back test of a spring idea out the window in a lot of ways. But anyways, the idea was we're in a reaccumulation, and a spring is when you fall out of a trading range. A lot of people get shaken out of their positions, and that allows the composite operator to absorb a lot of the supply that comes in from institutional investors at a cheap price. So you have people basically panic selling all of their coins or all of their shares at a discount, and then these large institutional interests can come in and pick up the cheaper assets. So that's one idea. But anyways, back to DigiByte. Bitcoin is going to do what Bitcoin does. It's its own beast.
It is.
Yeah.
But I mean, Bitcoin, as we know, does control its coin, or as king, does control the market. And DigiByte basically is going to do whatever Bitcoin does. But there has been some cases that, looking at momentum on the charts with the MACD and, higher highs and higher lows, lower lows and lower highs, that the momentum, sometimes DigiByte's ahead and all of a sudden Bitcoin's ahead, or Bitcoin is slow and then all of a sudden DigiByte is slow. Sometimes DigiByte is slow and Bitcoin's ahead, but then all of a sudden DigiByte's ahead and it's doing one thing and Bitcoin's doing another. and then it took a minute for DigiByte to do what Bitcoin was doing. You know what I mean? So
Pretty much, yeah.
it's
Yeah, and
pretty weird when I was just learning about all the just differences between the pairings and the actions and what the heck's going on. But basically, if you just read the charts, you don't even have to worry about the news.
Yeah, totally. And a lot of the Elon Musk stuff, it's like, great, cool. Elon Musk he's out, he's active in crypto. Awesome. You know, to me, I don't really care about that. I just like the chart, and whatever new data comes in, I base my decisions around. And right now it's been pretty tough in the crypto market because there's been, Bitcoin's basically at the bottom side of this range. It's at 41.6 now. It was at like 45K earlier today. It's 10% drop. It's tough right now with,
dude, it ranges from $5,000 to $3,000 like every other day.
Yeah, exactly.
Every day.
Exactly. But the way altcoin charts are looking right now, if Bitcoin decides to stop doing this, altcoin charts are looking pretty darn good.
Dude, I was just saying that, dude. DigiByte is looking phenomenal once Bitcoin figures out a bottom within itself and then a double bottom.
Yeah. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of opportunities to be had out there right now. But anyways, yeah. So reaccumulation, if this was to play out, what I would do is I would draw my channel here. You have your buying climax sort of from April. This is interesting too. This was, I think, when the Chinese mining FUD stuff was going around, and I was like, hey, DigiByte, DigiByte's pretty cool. It's it's like Bitcoin in a lot of ways, but I think there was people selling their Bitcoin getting into DigiByte. You can look at the DigiByte to Bitcoin chart.
Dude, I was just saying that everything is looking sideways. Everything's going sideways.
Yeah. So this is kind of my idea right now on DigiByte to Bitcoin. Looks like there's an API feed error, or I joke about this sometimes, where DigiByte will gap up on earnings.
Dude, I don't even understand the gap, dude. Like, I saw a gap on freaking TradingView. I'm like, that's not supposed to be there.
It's probably an API bug. This happens from time to time, and but anyways, this is kind of my idea right now. It's just like in general, like a trading range. To me, it's pretty discernible. You have your buying climax, your automatic reaction. A secondary test will happen, which will confirm that like a buying climax is in, and then that's where I will draw my trading range. And you can do this on many time frames across all markets, and
whatever chart. Yeah,
it works pretty well in crypto, I've found.
That's hey Matthew. Yeah. When I watch Mitch and Crown, dude, they are like blown away sometimes with some of the movements in the chart patterns that just normal Joes point out, and they're like, "Wow, no, whoa." Because that's how fast crypto is. Crypto is it's the highway life.
For sure. So, I mean, yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. But, this to me it's a pretty bullish reaccumulation. And what I've seen on some of the previous altcoin pumps, I'll watch like the Bitcoin pair start catching bids as people are shifting their Bitcoin into an altcoin. And I was watching on Polkadot, for example, before Polkadot took off. It was it went up to like 46 or 47 bucks. Mm-hmm. I saw the Bitcoin pair doing pretty well ahead of time. So it's important, I think, to just right now keep an eye on these Bitcoin pairs. It's not always the case where the Bitcoin TA will play out, because Bitcoin to the USD is like, that's the gold standard, in my opinion. That's the chart that I kind of always have to look back to and reference to as I'm doing this TA. But anyways, DigiByte.
Going back to what you said, Bitcoin paired to USD and everything else paired to Bitcoin. This is DigiByte paired to Bitcoin, and I was looking under the impression that DigiByte paired to USD looked like a better chart compared to DigiByte versus Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But noticing that gap, and then if you zoom back out on the DigiByte Bitcoin chart,
Yeah.
It seems like we're reaccumulating DigiByte with Bitcoin.
I would definitely agree with that. And I don't know if you spotted this, but there is a huge harmonic actually on DigiByte. So
no, I did not.
Yeah,
spot that. I didn't even draw that out. In fact, are you on TradingView?
I am. Yeah.
Okay, so how did you get to draw that out?
So this is the XABCD tool. It's over
Where
here.
did you find it?
It's over here. It's this XABCD pattern.
What the heck? I had it the whole time. I didn't need to buy a TradingView.
So yeah, harmonic patterns are basically just Fibonacci retracements, and these are patterns that play out over and over and over again across all markets. And the greats have been doing or have done the research on this stuff. And this is like a textbook shark pattern. It had a 618 retrace from, what was that, X to A. Came down here to 142 sats.
Because that's
and then it rallied.
Right.
Yeah, and then it rallied, and then it sold off,
From the top to the low again. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically it's just this M pattern that happens on the chart where you have, this accumulation down here, and then what I thought back then was like a reaccumulation pattern. Turned out it was distribution. And then DigiByte found its lows again when Bitcoin was basically just running like crazy back last Christmas. So it turns out there's this huge bullish shark pattern that went from the COVID lows back in March of 2020 all the way up to Christmas of 2020. So that's a pattern weird, that's 9 months large.
That's weird. That's really weird because I don't see that on the USD pair at all, because
this is the Bitcoin pair that I'm looking at right now.
To Bitcoin, obviously, but like when I get people, like when I ask Mitch, "Hey, check out DigiByte," does he even see? Maybe I should ask him next time. Next time I'll send a $20 super chat and ask him about DigiByte pair BTC, but most of the time, he kind of brushes me off because he says we got Matthew D for that. Now, it's kind of funny. It's funny that he says that because, like, this is pretty much the first time I've gotten screen time with you.
Yeah.
From his, children, basically. I'll call you his child.
Well, man, I was a community member for like a year. I just hung out in general chat there, and I just kind of watched what people were doing. And, I'm just a guy. I like to chart and stuff, and I just freaking watch Mitch a bunch.
Did you post this chart on Mitch Ray's channel or in the chart?
Everybody knows that I love DigiByte.
Yeah, but I mean, did you post this M here chart for?
Yeah, we were talking about this back last December.
Well, how come I didn't see it in the Discord?
I'm mainly in the Patreon, to be honest with you.
Oh, so you're a level up above me? Now I'm a peon. You're a Patreon, I'm a peon.
I don't want to call you a peon, man, but there's like general chat, and then there's the Patreon. And
in order to get on Patreon, I have to pay what, $1,000 something?
No, I believe his Patreon membership is like, I think it just up to $150 a month.
So it's entry level $150 a month. Wow.
Yeah.
Guys,
so
let me touch on that for a second, guys. DigiByte community, listen. I brought Matthew D on here to give us some insight on what he's seen on the charts. Now, we're pulling him away from Mitch Ray's Discord and Patreon. Now, I didn't know he was in the Patreon, but listen, this is one of Mitch Ray's disciples, okay? Straight up.
Honestly,
before you downgrade yourself, listen.
I don't want you to put me on a pedestal.
Let me give you some praise.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Shut up, Matthew.
Yes, sir.
Listen, guys. Don't call me sir, damn you. No, listen, guys. All I'm saying is we do have someone valuable here that knows his stuff on charts, and he loves DigiByte. Now, as you guys know, I'm just fumbling my way through on the charts, and you guys love me. But listen, it's really hard to get people like this on this channel, especially when he doesn't even want to show his face. He's like, you know, he's like the economic ninja without showing his face, like being a real ninja here. You know, I mean, like he's got the face covering and everything. We can't even see his eyes. He's in the dark.
I'm like DigiByte Anon on charts.
Anon on charts. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's really valuable to get him on here. So if you guys are learning something, you know, from Matthew D here, you might want to, you know, join Mitch Ray's Discord. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, like, you know, even just, you know, the general chat. I'm not here like promoting anybody.
Well, the general chat, I don't see you a lot. I don't see you a lot on general chat. And dude, you have to follow Mitch Ray to figure out who you are. I mean, you don't. There's no way anybody in the DigiByte community could find you except if you're Scripts guy.
Pretty much. I mean, I just, you know, like I said, I just like charting, and you know, I saw what DigiByte was maturing into last summer. You know, this huge, just mammoth-sized reaccumulation pattern back here. You know, I wish I still had all my old charts, but you know, just drawing a range, kind of what I look for. You know, 273 days in reaccumulation. That to me is just huge. And I'm also thinking about the supply of DigiByte. I'm thinking like, you know, a part of me when I am looking at these charts does think about the fundamentals of a cryptocurrency, and DigiByte's got a large supply. It's got like 11 or 12 billion coins right now. So like as a trader, I'm looking at a chart with an asset that has, you know, freaking 10 billion coins or 10 billion shares of a company that are interwebs.
It's definitely
internationally
14 billion or 14 billion plus.
So 14 billion plus at this point. Yeah, that's, I think, important to think about if I'm going into trade an asset. You know, what's the supply like right now? Because me as a trader, I have to understand like, hey, this trade's going to take a little bit more patience because of the, you know, the amount of supply that's out there. There's a lot of moving parts when you have a larger supply like DigiByte has versus something like, you know, a Yearn Finance, a YFI that has 29,000 coins and you know, a market cap being what it was. I think
that's absurd too. That's why I always stick with DigiByte, because it has 21 billion max supply, mostly, I mean, ever minted, and current supply. Getting back to what you're saying on the charts with all the comparisons, I think I interrupted you when you were in the Bitcoin BTC pair for DigiByte.
Yeah, we can go check that out. I know a lot of people really like or only trade the Bitcoin pair, and
there's a lot of us. There's a lot of them on this channel that. Yeah, and I only give them the USD pair, but give them the BTC pair.
Yeah, I mean, so just the history of it, like this huge M pattern formed, and you know, a lot of people look at harmonics the first time and they're like, what the heck are those triangles? You know, and that's what I saw the first time as well. But harmonics
are just unbelievable. When you show it right here, I don't ever see it. I don't ever see it, is what I'm saying.
It takes a while to really just start seeing the Fibonacci retracements, and
I didn't know they were tied to the Fibonacci retracements.
Yeah, so basically,
can you guide us, Matthew? We might have to take a little bit more of your time. I will pay you. We will come up with some kind of freaking love fund to give you, dude. Like, you have a DigiByte address, post it in the chat. You can actually, you know, you can post your DigiByte address in the chat. I would like to see your harmonic here, your M here.
Let me, so I'll just pull, I'll pull some fibs. This 618 here was, you know, measured this low to high. And if you want to zoom in, we can. Basically, it's a way to break apart kind of doing all of these fib pulls. And that's what this Fibonacci retracement tool is. It's basically just, measuring the size of a pullback from a swing low to a swing high. So down here you had this, this wick. I've seen enough 1 minute charts to know that I was actually on 2 wicks, but basically, it wicked down to the 618 between that low to high. And it's a way of doing those fib pulls across an M pattern to come up with, basically this XABCD that drew a shark. And I think the 14014 up here was, I don't know if I have that on my fib tool, but yeah, it's 114% retrace, which is I believe another fib.
It's probably the fib reversal, but no, I always use the scam wicks because they seem to be accurate on the fibs. Have you noticed that?
I have, yeah. But I mean, you can just see the price action correlation here between, the A point here and then, up here you had another swing high that, basically found resistance.
Yeah,
it found resistance right there, and that's where sell orders were at. So, you could basically, I don't want to say call a top, but you could understand that, we were making lower highs at this point. So yeah, that could have been a potential place where you could have drawn a harmonic out to see what the potential downside could have been. And
so how can you? Well, because what? Because it made another lower high, and so you figured out maybe we're going down a little bit further than.
Yeah, this is super. I would call that kind of like a micro high there, but yeah, I mean, you caught resistance at the A point on the harmonic. You made a lower high. I would look at my momentum oscillators and say, or look and see like, hey, was there any bearish divergence there?
Right.
Not really. This is the 4 hour, not really.
Can you double tap that MACD there?
Yeah. Yeah, this is what we're looking at. That to me just looks like bearish convergence, or I think that's bearish convergence, where it makes a high.
It's a reversal.
It's really neutral. What you'd want to be looking for is like, if this was the high on price, you'd want to be looking for a lower high on your momentum oscillator.
Double click it again, real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So this is the Bitcoin pair also, which doesn't.
Right. I haven't been staring at the Bitcoin pair, and
yeah, it doesn't exactly follow these momentum oscillators to a T. I don't exactly find the Bitcoin TA the most reliable. Like, it can be done.
That's why
I'm sitting here doing this saying, like, you can do TA on the Bitcoin pair. It's all dependent on that BTC USD chart. So if Bitcoin decides to go on like a 3-month long face melting pump, people are going to sell their altcoins and they're going to look for yield into Bitcoin. That's just going to happen. Yeah. And that wound up happening here on DigiByte. But I held. I didn't sell. I just bought more. But yeah, ultimately, what I wanted to show is, this big harmonic. It's huge. I love it. And all these supports here. Sorry about that, guys. But
no, it's cool.
Yeah, it's again just kind of showing the maturing of. This is on Bittrex, by the way. Kind of showing the maturing of DigiByte's price.
On Bittrex, and because if I look on the BTC pair on TradingView for DigiByte, I don't see any of that history. Well, I do, but not for the USD beyond the previous first accumulation pump on July 2018.
Yeah, the best chart I found was, I think here, the Bittrex USD pair. Goes back to 2019. But yeah, I mean, Bitcoin pair always had the most data on TradingView, so that's where I started.
So how if I was comparing what your harmonic you're drawing there with DigiByte USD, I know they're completely two different pairs.
Yeah.
But if I'm talking to my audience about the DigiByte USD, do I have to always go back? Because see the DigiByte USDT right there, either USD or USDT,
Yeah.
it always fades away when you go left, and there's no history. Do I always have to revert back to the Bitcoin pairing just to show a little bit of history, or is there somewhere that I can show them the history?
Well, it'd be on that CoinTrader Pro website, I would think.
Let me write that down.
Yeah, I'll send it to you at the end of this. But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on
don't forget to send that to me.
Yeah, if you're on the 4 hour, I think the whole history goes back. But like, if you go to the hourly or the 60-minute, the history will just disappear after a certain point, just because it doesn't want to show you the whole data. It'd be too much on TradingView servers, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, it depends on the pair, the history, and really the time scale that you're looking at. And then TradingView, of course, will have bugs every once in a while, and DigiByte will gap up on earnings, like I like to say.
So you're zooming in where DigiByte is now with the U.S. dollar. Now,
yeah.
What do you got here? You're showing us parallel. You're showing us horizontal action here. You're not. I've been usually selling our community. I've been selling like the viewers the pitchfork. I've been really playing that out. I don't know if you've seen any of that, but channels.
Yeah, they're basically like these Fibonacci channels. I have like a modified kind of Fibonacci channel that I use. That's kind of like a pitchfork. It doesn't have the exact parameters that I think a pitchfork that you kind of need for a pitchfork. There's like rules. This is more of just a freehand channel. I look more so to the horizontal realm, because that to me is
like the resistance lines and the support lines.
Yeah, it's basically just resistance and support. Price, the price will move within a given range, and I can better understand the price cycle that we're currently experiencing. So
okay.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, if if DigiByte, doesn't really find support here soon, you're going to break 10 cents. That seems to me like a psychological support, and you got some nice support below you, which is nice. You have a congestion area, and there's potential harmonics that can be drawn here too. There's I think you had a 618 here. So I mean, yeah. If you're talking 618, you're talking like
8-9 cents.
Yeah, you're talking like a deep crab at that point. Or you're talking a crab, which is a 1618, I think.
Well, we don't want to go that deep. Go, Matthew. Damn, dude.
Yeah, no, but I'm also looking at.
Go ahead. Go back to the deep crab. Give us something, because.
Well, that's a potential harmonic, but I'm also looking at my momentum oscillators here. I'm just seeing like stupid bullish divergence. Where you're making consecutively lower lows, but your RSI, your relative strength index, is making higher lows. So that to me, it's telling me like, hey, the strength of the selling on each of these drives is less and less. And what's up?
It's just in Bitcoin's $41,390. It's dropping. So
yeah.
So what does Bitcoin's dropping, but I always look at the USD value for DigiByte because I've been charting it for so long. I really don't. It's hard for me to see the pairing between them two, but when I watch USD, I always pay attention to the Bitcoin USD when I watch DigiByte USD.
Yeah, definitely. So when price action like this happens, the best, I don't know, I guess piece of advice that I would say, just as a chartist, is to zoom out. Right now we're on the 4 hour. Let's go to the 12 hour.
Okay. The 12 hour, why? Isn't that like Well, the daily would be 24 hours. So this is half a day.
Yeah, it's half a day. It's more significant than the 4 hour, but it's still less significant than the daily. But,
Okay.
you know, I can look at my momentum oscillators here. I can see like, hey, you know, we're just getting into oversold territory on the 12 hour. Really no signs of any.
According to what? Is that 3070 or 3090? What is that?
Yeah, 30, 39, 3070. Yeah,
3070?
it's
Okay.
just the vanilla, you know.
Is there any way we can go lower than 20?
I mean, I think so. Yeah, I mean,
I
you
mean,
look at
lower
it.
than, yeah, okay, so we can go
Yeah,
to 20.
you look at the history. Like March of 2020, we got down to 13.9 on the RSI.
Is there any confluence to get a bounce there?
You know, it's tough to say that you can find support. I think on an oscillator, you know, I'd be looking more at price support than anything else.
So there's not another oscillator that can give you the support?
No, to me, previous history is going to tell me what the support and resistance levels are. Right now, we're kind of in no man's land, and I'm going to pull up the 4 hour again.
Well, you
And
mean previous history, you mean the previous the highs and lows?
yeah, exactly. So right
Yeah,
now,
that's what I always would relax on for sure with the camera
Mhm.
bodies.
Yeah, I mean, right now you're looking at this one little congestion area here, and then your Tesla pump, which was February 8th. But there's also, we can look at another indicator too. This is the VPVR,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. I called it visible range. I think
Is that on the 4 hour or the daily?
this is the 4 hour.
Now, what? Okay.
So this is like, I think the volume of price action at a particular price.
Right.
So this to me, but you know, the smaller the histogram on the right, in essence, the weaker the support would be at that particular price level. So,
But man, you're absolutely right, because that could be the greatest resistance of the reverse around when you got a longer bar. It could be
pretty much,
resistance and support.
yeah. So I mean, your strongest level below where we're at now is 34K.
That's enlightening, guys.
That's your strongest.
34?
That's your strongest level. Yeah. Now, I mean, I'm not going to say that, you know, there isn't significant, you know, price action that's happened between here and 36K and 38K.
Well, you might have a couple of, you might have 4 touches, but 34, guys. Did you hear that?
I mean, that's your strongest, in my opinion. Yeah, just based on this. It's one indicator, too. You know, you have to use.
It is one indicator, but that's a good, good buying zone.
In technical analysis, you have to use multiple indicators, multiple oscillators to develop an edge.
Dude, we're at 40,700 now.
Yeah, this has officially become a Bitcoin dump stream, I think. Oh, man.
Dude, if we break that next bar on there on the indicator, we're going to freaking 36, 35.
Yeah, I mean, you got pretty good support here at 37. You have all right support at 38.7. But you know, if you go to the daily, this is your most significant.
I always use the daily.
Weekly.
I like seeing the daily because they're it's more profound candles.
Exactly. Yeah, and you can look at candle high closes. You can look at swing lows and swing highs. It's just cleaner, especially on these kind of, you know, times when the price is dumping and you're like, all right, where are we going to stop? Where should I, you know, potentially be putting a buy order at? You know, if I'm just,
dude, it's like looking ahead of the price action from hourly to daily, because you're like looking at hourly, you're like, okay, just cross this candle or below this candle. Like, oh, let's go back to the daily and say, all right, where could it land?
Pretty much. Yeah. Where is the, you know, potential support at for this, you know, for this move down or for the down move?
Right.
And, you know,
and keep in mind, hey, Matthew, keep in mind, we're all learning here on this channel. We're not professionals. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. Been drinking too much unsweetened tea. Unsweetened tea. Listen, So when we talk the way we talk, and keep in mind, I don't think I know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of viewers that don't realize what we're talking about. That's why I kind of refresh what it is that we're talking about.
Yeah, definitely. And, just as somebody I kind of do this every day, this isn't a profession for me. I just like charting, and I've really taken a liking to kind of I've made it not free because I pay for a subscription to a service, but I just like the available knowledge that's out there online from years and years of studying what people who have done this for a living have found. So to me, charting and looking at price action as it happens it's an ever growing thing. And I mean, Bitcoin and DigiByte are brand new assets. Bitcoin's 12 years old at this point. That's still young. That's still very young for a particular asset. There's a lot of money out there, and it's unregulated. So you gotta think about that kind of stuff too when you're involved in a space. And
what do you mean by when you're thinking unregulated? You got to think about where the money's going to go.
Pretty much, I think. Yeah, it's you have Elon Musk playing around on Twitter, and you have
that guy. Dude,
you have a lot.
Talk 2 hours on that guy.
Yeah, you have a lot of. Yeah, you just have a lot of kind of. How do I put it? Like, it's like
It's the school of fish, man. They're getting eaten up by whales. That's kind
of. There's a particular thing I'm trying to think of right now, and it's slipping my mind. But yeah, you just have it's the intangibles. That's what I'm getting at. There's a lot of intangibles in this market that during times like this, you just kind of have to zoom out and say, what's going on? Should what kind of actions should I take as a trader? And to me, I was accumulating a position at value areas a lot lower than this. I wasn't FOMO buying in at 50,000, 60,000, telling all my friends about it, tweeting about it on Twitter that I was, opening a Coinbase account and stuff. To me, it's about a long-term, play where I'm looking at the day-to-day actions, the week-to-week actions, and I'm just slowly building this knowledge set to where I can, for the rest of my life, hopefully do this as a side hobby or just.
But you have to execute. Yeah. You have to execute when it turns to your favor. Like that's the ultimate plan. Like on a trader aspect, you're going to have to identify, the turnaround, or this is where we're double bottling, or you know what I mean. The trend change.
For sure. So getting back to Bitcoin.
On Bitcoin, it would be, for you, the ultimate bottom for Bitcoin would be 34, which is phenomenal when I'm looking at it. I look at 40, could be 34. But how do you compare, let's just say Bitcoin hits 40,000, which it looks like it's about to, 34, to DigiByte's USD value? Where would DigiByte be if Bitcoin hits 40,000?
Yeah, that's a good question. The selling on DigiByte, we kind of mentioned it typically happens after Bitcoin has kind of found its bottom. It's tough to say. I mean, I have this sort of wick high support here. It's like 7.2 cents. There is definitely downside potential on DigiByte.
But is it comparable to what Bitcoin's really doing? Because you just zoomed out there and saw the previous high.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, you have Bitcoin making lower lows. DigiByte still has not made a lower low from the 22nd of April.
Well, you're on the 4 hourly.
Yeah, I'm on the 4 hour now.
You're counting the wick.
Yeah, that's the wick. We go to the daily.
As long as we can count the wick, sure. The daily shows in candle bodies. We made a lower low.
Right now we did, yeah. So
I
yeah, I
mean,
mean,
just using the candle bodies. I'm not counting the wicks.
yeah. So I mean, the next somewhat support would be 9.1 or 9.1 cents, and I mean, you're talking
It's the same range
probably
for Bitcoin, though. I
probably
mean,
better support down here at 8.3 cents to 8.4 cents,
I'm
and
looking at 9 to 8 to be the ultimate bottom for DigiByte if
Mhm.
Bitcoin hits 40 to 34, as you say.
Yeah, but honestly, this isn't about calling tops and bottoms. For me, it's just about, as new data comes in, where is the best edge for a trade? And right now, my I'm kind of hands off on a lot of these things.
Well, I was just trying to shoot
It's
out a price range in between the highs and lows of where Bitcoin could hit
yeah,
compared to what you're showing us on DigiByte. It really looks like it's really culpable, meaning
mhm.
it looks the same
It's
on the graph.
very similar. And you also have DigiByte it's at a pretty high level right now compared to uh, you know Bitcoin's at sky high all time highs, but you have DigiByte kind of do consolidating at its peak, or kind of at its 2017 2018 all time highs. But anyways, I wanted to just look at this set of
Okay.
volume bars over here, and yeah, you have some pretty good support because DigiByte's been a slow mover, and it's been able to establish good price support and good resistance levels on its way up. So, I think as as new data comes in, it's selling off right now. There's really no edge for upside. Um, every time that I think I see some classic divergence, which classic divergence is, we can go to Bitcoin's chart here, 4 hour.
On the 4 hour.
Yeah.
Are we seeing divergence?
I mean, yeah, on the RSI on the 4 hour, you have lows, and then you have lower lows, and you have higher levels of relative strength. So, I just zoomed into the
It's
RSI
clear.
here.
Yeah, it's clear. I think that's like it's beginning to say something,
Yep.
but
But
doesn't it have to make on the RSI? Doesn't it have to make another higher high on the RSI to
uh,
confirm it? How does
yeah,
it confirm it?
yeah. Basically, when I look for confirmation of classic bullish divergence, I'm looking for it on both of these oscillators, on the MACD and on the RSI. Let me get rid of this indicator. It's kind of bugging me. But the MACD right now is just super sloppy. It's
Yeah,
it's really sloppy.
on the 4 hour.
Yeah, on the 4 hour it is. But basically, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for lows and then higher lows on my momentum oscillators. And then ultimately what I want to see is either an accumulation bottom, which could be like an inverse head and shoulders. It could be, one of those accumulation ranges, something along those lines, accompanied with a Japanese candlestick reversal, which is like, it's like a bullish engulfing candle, or it's a hammer, or it's, there's a whole world of of TA out there, and candlesticks is not my specialty, but seeing like a nice hammer, which is it's a small candle body with a big lower wick, indicates that a lot of buying came in, and the price could potentially reverse at that point. So classic divergence, to me, it implies impending price action reversal to the upside.
Matthew, I gotta go. Continue on.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Sorry for the second time. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Third time.
So yeah, on Bitcoin, this is the 4 hour chart. The classic bullish divergence is, when the price is making lower lows, and these momentum oscillators, the relative strength index is, it's an oscillator that's used. Professional traders across all markets use it. But it basically just, indicates the relative strength of moves. And I don't know how it's coded and put together, but it's definitely almost like a textbook oscillator that is, it's a great variable that you can add to your chart to watch out for trades. And I think Script has probably done a pretty good job at showing everybody the RSI. And the MACD down here is, I'm going to get rid of this one. MACD down here, it's looking sloppy, but you can make the argument that you do have negative, or that negative momentum is waning. Like I said, it's sloppy. You have one red histogram here from a bit of a sell-off. Yeah, you have a low, then a higher low, and then a higher low. And the MACD, that stands for moving averages, convergence, divergence. And I believe it's a oscillator that tracks the moving averages of a price and how far apart and how tight they are. So I think I know a little bit more about the MACD than the RSI, but yeah, they're just momentum oscillators, and I use them to look for that classic bullish divergence, or in an uptrend, you can find hidden bullish divergence, which we can find an example of. I think the last one was on Bitcoin's daily chart.
I always look at the RSI as the Stokes on the MACD.
Yeah, I go back and forth with the Stokes on the MACD. It's just a cleaner chart. I need a simple chart to be able to, look at more stuff. And the Stokes, you can use them. I choose not to. But yeah, the hidden bullish divergence example I was just about to show, you have a, let's see, where's my line at? You have lower levels of negative lower levels of momentum and a higher low on price. Thing here on the MACD. So that indicates impending price action continuation to the upside versus classic bullish divergence, which is a low on price and then a lower low, and then you have higher levels, which Bitcoin kind of was showing, but due to yesterday's candle, didn't make the cut. So
but it looks like it could be. Are you saying there's more downside, like heavy downside on Bitcoin, because compared to the?
At this point, we're just watching data roll in. I'm not seeing any signs of a reversal right now, and that's the best I can give you. It's like, is there more downside potential on Bitcoin? Maybe. Flip a coin. That's ultimately that's the best I can do at this point, because we're kind of in no man's land. There's no real.
Well, how bad are we in no man's land in the wilderness with DigiByte?
In DigiByte, we're at the bottom side of a range, and this is kind of the range that I was talking to you guys about with the Wyckoff idea.
Mm-hmm.
I have like a buying climax, and I just draw my range. It's a buying climax with your automatic rally secondary test. And yeah, you fell out a couple times. And yeah, I mean, now the support came in at the bottom side of the range. And I believe there was some classic bullish divergence down here that I was like, that looks all right. DigiByte might be reversing.
Can you show us the bullish divergence?
Yeah. So let's zoom into it. So this is the 4-hour chart. You have candle closes. Yeah, basically, I mean, you guys can see that there's, you have a low on price there. Then you're making a lower low there. And then here, let's see. I mean, your lowest low is just a couple couple candles ago.
All your lows are drawing lines to the right.
Yep.
Okay.
That's okay. But yeah, this is another case where the 4-hour is pretty sloppy on the MACD, so I'm just going to get rid of that.
So doesn't it look like it wants to climb out sideways? I did a couple of videos on it. The last two videos, it looked like DigiByte wants to climb sideways and out, like a falling wedge.
Yeah, I did see your wedge idea. To me, I'm seeing more of a channel here, to be honest with you. It's kind of like this downsloping channel.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, downsloping channel.
yeah, it's something along these lines. Hold on, you always have to play around with these channels just to
I was playing around with my wedge.
Yeah.
No, I feel you there.
Yeah, it's you're just using trend lines, you're using horizontal supports and resistances to kind of make an argument to understand, kind of the potential upside or downside. And I mean, if we're in this channel here, this isn't a very clean one. I like the channel on the Bitcoin pair, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if that's your channel, you got more downside. It looks like you're kind of, let me get rid of these supports, and these lines are kind of getting in my way here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, if that's your channel, that to me says there's more downside potential to where you could potentially fall down to 8 cents to get to the bottom of the channel, where a potential reversal might occur. And that to me is it's entirely likely with the way Bitcoin's looking. Every time it sells off, it just kind of goes sideways a little bit, and then, like we're seeing right now, it just sells off some more. So all bets are off on this stuff. I mean, the RSI is making.
I'm not liking that bullish or that bearish engulfing candle. I don't like that at all.
No, it kind of sucks, because I mean, you're breaking out of a range, you're failing to get back within the range, and then you're just kind of falling right back out. So,
but it's still at 10 cents and it's fighting. But real quick, since you just viewed that, so you're saying that we're falling down out of that parallel channel.
Yep.
Okay, real quick, let me share what I got.
For sure.
Even though it was like, no, you don't have to back out. You don't have to back out. Let me just,
okay. Sorry, guys.
I'll push the button and you. So let's see here. So I mean, can you see that?
Should I go back to the tab?
No.
Yeah, there we go.
See what's on the screen?
Yep.
Okay. So this is what I got. I got this big support box here. Okay. Now it could fall through. I mean, on the daily, there was just one green candle. Looks like there's no support. It looked like it would go all the way down here to 8 cents or 8.5 cents, right? But on the 4-hour, you got this, kind of like falling wedge thing here. That's
support. That's pretty real. Are you talking further right? Our current price action?
Yeah, where we are right now is literally this falling wedge. It looks like this giant falling wedge touching down to lower this earlier falling wedge.
Yeah, so in like the context of a Wyckoff structure, that would be, where you're talking about looking left there, that would be a preliminary support. Basically, it's like a little event that happens before you have kind of a buying climax, where it establishes support for a trading range. And we're definitely in that congestion area right now, fighting.
Exactly. Look how many lines I got here. It looks like a freaking like inwardly hexagon or something. Like, we definitely got something here. A lot of freaking support, but now that Bitcoin's falling, it's exactly how I thought it would be if Bitcoin fell right now. But we're seeing a lot of confluence here on this, like it's like a elbow of an arm about to go either there or there.
Yeah, definitely. And I've seen patterns like this. They can break to the downside if it is a falling wedge. These wedge patterns, it's entirely probability based. It's not a sure thing like, hey, it's going to break to the upside, it's going to break to the downside. But what that tells to me, or it shows me, that there's a tightening spread on price, and like a less and less kind of, or in a more narrow range. So that's kind of there's a psychological aspect to a falling wedge or an ascending triangle, and it could be doing that right now. I'm not totally a psychological expert on the nature of these patterns, but to me, well, DigiByte looks like
the top of the top of this downtrend, this resistance line, more than it is lower. But like, that's why looked like it wanted to go break out sideways, and it kind of did. I mean, look, it broke out into these the newer channels here, the 10-tenths, whatever it's bouncing between pennies. But like, it wanted to go sideways, but then the moment I saw it broke out, I was like, yes, finally, there's a candle body over here. I was literally correct in my analysis, and then I'm looking at Bitcoin, and of course this is a 4-hour on the DGB USD. Looking at Bitcoin USD, I'm like, man, how come every time I do a video, it seems like you try to be as accurate as you can as a trader, and Bitcoin literally destroys your dreams. And here it goes right back into the falling wedge, like right back down in here. So it's no man's land.
It gets back to what I was kind of talking about earlier. It's like, this stuff is about probabilities. It's not about certainties. And the price action on DigiByte is tightening right now, and I think I'm always looking for a resolution one way or the other. And I wanted to mention, guys, you don't have to send me any DGB, but shameless, I'm going to be shameless. Script told me to put my DGB address in the chat, so there it is.
Go ahead. I told you that because how rare do we find... Sorry, let's get back on your stuff. Did I add your stuff? Let me remove my stuff. Because how rare it is to find, crypto TA traders, analysts here. They love DigiByte at the same time they actually do other stuff on other patterns. I mean, I wanted how long did it take for you to get on the channel? Like, I know I was reaching out to you for about a month now, and
probably a good couple weeks. I mean, I think
the last couple weeks we started narrowing down how to communicate.
Definitely. Just being on Telegram and stuff. I just got a new computer and didn't have Telegram for a long time, so that was tough. And I would only open Telegram once a week, and then I was like, oh, Script Skynet, is chatting me up, and I saw.
Whoa! What do you mean? What are you talking about? How do you know about me? I mean,
you had I believe messaged me on Telegram because I think chatted in the official discussion or something like that, and then you said, hey, is this the Matt D from Mitch Ray's channel? And I said, yeah.
Was it official discussion DigiByte channel, or was it the help,
It might have been that one. Well, okay, so I'm in the official discussion, I'm in the help one, and then I'm also in the price and one. So
okay, no, I didn't find you in price and speculation, DGB waves. I think it was official.
It was one of those three.
Chats or whatever.
Yeah, I was posting something about the wallet, the DGB wallet. It gives me, there's so much potential there. I just wish that I had access to my XPub key, which I don't think you can get.
You're talking about the DigiByte support channel.
Yeah, I think I posted in there something about, something about that.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, hey, is this the Matthew D from Mitch Ray's? Yeah.
Yep. So
I got you, dude. I got you in my wavelength.
Heck yeah.
That's how it happened.
Yeah, I'm not often on Telegram. I like Discord a little better because I think that's just the gamer in me.
Okay.
But yeah, DigiByte to Bitcoin, it's holding up a little better than the US dollar pair, I think. almost makes me want to look at the DXY right now and see what that's doing.
Find out what the DXY is doing. Tell us how the United States dollar suck.
Yeah. So, I mean, the DXY looks like it's rallying a little bit here.
Oh.
Just a little bit. It's up 0.707%. But just for people who are like, what the heck is the DXY? Oh, that's interesting. See that low?
Yeah.
Found support. So
could be
the yeah, the DXY it's the U.S. Dollar currency index. It's just like it's a basket of foreign currencies to the U.S. dollar. It includes like the euro to the USD, the Canadian dollar to the USD, Swiss franc, Japanese yen, and then the Great British pound to the US dollar. And the Forex market is just this huge market where people just exchange currencies back and forth. And the DXY is the measure of the US dollar to those foreign currencies. So people always say like, oh, the DXY is, it's going up. That means it's bad for crypto. And that is kind of true, I think. But
oh man, you just set out so many YouTubers, dude.
Well, it's kind of true. It's also not true because cryptocurrency is
not correlated to this.
It's not directly correlated, and you can actually you can do a side-by-side comparison of the DXY to Bitcoin's price history over the last 12 years, and you can see where there's been whole years where Bitcoin has gone up in price, and so has the DXY. So it's a passing correlation, and that's kind of what I call it.
It's kind of manipulative that crypto YouTubers would, correlate those two.
Yeah, but okay, here we go. There's some more education potential. Got some classic bullish divergence on the DXY 4-hour chart. I don't like that as a Bitcoin trader, as a Bitcoin holder. Yeah, there it is on the MACD too. So, take that for what take that for what it's worth. You have a pretty strong downtrend. It's been going on since March of 2020 on the DXY. So this to me means that we could get some reversal here, but I'm not looking for a very strong reversal with the context of where the reversal is at.
No.
Yeah.
Looking at your chart, I'm thinking if I can see it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Go back.
Do you want me to zoom out?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I can go to the weekly even.
Go left. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Draw your cursor all the way over. Right, no, one more over. Right there.
Mm-hmm. That's a big congestion area.
Yeah, and it's double rejected right there, and now it wants to get above it. It's almost like a signal cross.
Yeah, it's we're bouncing actually right here on this peak. You see that?
Yes.
Yeah, this peak is acting as support. And that's it almost, on the daily, it looked like a triple bottom over here. Like we're making higher lows.
Yeah. You can almost draw a line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's just essentially a double bottom. So it's not really that strong. If I was trading this, if I was wanting to see a reversal here, I would want a higher low than this previous low.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, that's just a form of distribution. When I see a base of support there like that,
mm-hmm. People are going in dollars.
Yeah, basically. And I think right now, this is the daily. But yeah, this to me it looks pretty similar to the 4-hour chart too. So the DXY, the DXY could be causing this potentially, or it's just one factor.
How long could it go though? Could it be short term, or could be a touch, or?
That's pretty clear. Classic bullish divergence. We had the same thing going on back in December and January. It was kind of here on the RSI. I'll bet if we go to the 4 hour, we can go to the 12 hour.
Well, that's just great.
Yeah, it was on the 12 hour. You had your sell off, and then here, I mean, you had consecutive. I'm starting to get a little mumble mouth here, but
no, that's okay. It was definitely trending higher.
Yeah, you have
RSI.
Classic bullish divergence basically here on the DXY that kind of led to this sideways and then up action.
It wasn't even hidden bullish divergence. It was before, but yeah.
This is classic where it's making a low, 3 consecutive lower lows, and then every time on your momentum oscillators, it's making lower levels of negative momentum.
So that's classic on the opposite side.
It's classic bullish divergence, which implies impending price action reversal to the upside.
Okay, maybe I should start calling it that, since I just call it, we got some bullish price action here.
Well, yeah.
So if the candles look opposite to the momentum oscillators, it's just classic.
Yeah, it's classic bullish divergence, which means something different than hidden bullish divergence.
Right. Explain real quick hidden bullish divergence.
Yeah, hidden bullish divergence or hidden bearish divergence. We'll just talk about bullish divergence. In an uptrend, when you have a low and then a higher low, if you're making lower levels, basically a lower low on your momentum oscillator and a higher low on your price compared to the previous swing low, then that's, what that means is it's impending price action continuation.
Right. Hidden bullish divergence.
Yeah, that's hidden bullish divergence. And then here you have classic, where you have consecutive lower lows on your price, but then you have higher or lower levels of negative momentum. Or,
pretty much either a drawing or a pushing away on the oscillators.
Yeah, and okay, so just as an aside, when I was learning all of this stuff, I kept an image just on my desktop that I would click on anytime I thought I saw that.
Was it the Mitch Ray indicators?
Yeah, I think he's got some of those out there, but you can literally just go on Google and you can type in like hidden bullish divergence or classic bullish divergence.
But there's so many, dude. I did that, and I try to bring some of those, hidden bullish divergences in the channel, trying to explain to people, and then all of a sudden here's another one that looks just like the other one. It didn't make any sense. It's doing the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you just have to find one that works for you. And
what I'm implying is maybe the Mitch Ray one is a little bit more accurate.
It might be.
Tested.
I haven't looked at it. I just kind of have committed this stuff to memory at this point. But yeah, it might be. And if you watch those guys long enough, if you watch Mitch like every day or
I watch them every day. Come on, dude.
Like a few times a week or whatever.
Every day, and then Crown every day.
Yeah, you start to pick up on the stuff that they can identify and look at. So, I mean, the DXY on the 12 hour has classic bullish divergence. That's basically 3 drives to the downside, and every time you're making higher levels of negative momentum or lower levels of negative momentum. So I always get tongue twisted whenever I start talking about this stuff, because you have lows and then you have higher lows on your momentum oscillators. So yeah, and this is honestly the first time I've really done something like this where I've like sat down, looked at the chart and explained it. Yeah. So this to me it's helping me, because if you can sort of teach something to other people, it helps you learn it better. So
I had to correct myself when we were talking about higher lows and lower lows. Anytime that you put an whatever your the secondary word you're saying on the lows, you're always talking about lower, the lower pattern of the candles. If you're talking about higher highs, you're talking about the higher pattern of the candles. So you're talking about the upper part of the candles. So
Mhm.
whatever your explanation point is, whatever you're saying, higher or lower,
Mhm.
you're talking about the either not mostly the downside or the upside. You're talking about where the candle is executing on those levels.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the price. Here on DigiByte, you have your swing high, and then your rally down here, which is your swing low, and then swing high. It's a lot easier if you go to the daily and zoom out. Um, you know, your lows and your highs definitely become a lot more discernible. If I just go to a chart without any drawings on it, you can see Bitcoin has basically just been a straight line up for ever since the PayPal news back in October.
So I
So
forgot that PayPal news exists, and I still don't use PayPal. Sorry, suckers.
yeah, I I don't like PayPal myself. They were sending me a bunch of emails like trying to get me to like verify my account. I just deleted my account. I'm like, I can't take this anymore.
They had me wait for a month before I got paid in a transaction.
Oh geez. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I mean, swing highs, swing lows, support resistance, that's kind of the bread and butter of charting. It's like,
Okay, bread and butter chart. Okay, here's the
yeah,
test, Matthew D. Point out a high or low.
high or low. I mean, here. So you have this like historic uptrend on Bitcoin. So here, you have your kind of your fake out top back in August and a little sideways action.
Yeah.
You have a low here put in November, then more face melting pump.
Where's the higher low?
Higher lows right here
Okay, just
in
like
January.
okay.
Mhm.
So the higher low, guys, is always going to be the second or third lower low over the overall pattern, short term overall pattern of the uptrend. So
It's all relative. So I mean, Bitcoin hasn't really seen a swing low at this point. Now that we're at 40,750 and dumping since the 23rd of January. When we were at 29K. So
shoot, it was what 42, 41,000 when we were talking about it.
yeah, I mean the buying climax was 41.5. Then we kind of dumped down to 28. So I mean that's your swing high there and your swing low. So
What
I mean,
midterm range is what 34?
yeah, I mean we can even pull fibs here too. And yeah, I mean looking at this Fibonacci, we kind of stopped out there at that 618.
Yeah.
And this is another thing too when you're talking about swing highs and lows. Your Fibonacci retracements are like your common retracements.
Mm-hmm.
I believe are between the 382 and the 786. So your common like everyday retracement is kind of this. I think it's called the golden zone, or it's just the common retrace area.
Pocket.
Yeah. So with the 618 right in the middle.
Okay.
The 50% is not a Fibonacci line. That's just it's just a reference point that I have in there. But yeah, I mean we failed to hold that 618 as support, which was the 42.6 level.
Well, that 50 line that you were talking about, the yellow line, could be a flipping line.
Could be a flipping line.
Here we're flipping here at the 50.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it held it as support there, and then it tested it as resistance. Kind of bounced back and forth for a couple of days, and now we're breaking below the 618. So, I mean, if you're using Fibonacci as support, your next support would be down at 36,557.
So that's the next overall channel where Bitcoin is probably going, at least touching it with a wick.
Potentially, yeah, potentially. But I mean, you're kind of, you're not in very strong support currently. So, this is all about, probabilities and just looking at potential places where reversal could occur. And I was pretty confident up here at 46, I think it was like 46 or 45. I was like seeing some classic bullish divergence signals on Bitcoin, and I'm like,
So was I.
yeah, I was like, this looks all right. You know, I can definitely see a spot for a trade here. And, you know, if I would have, you know, traded that on an exchange, I would have put a stop loss pretty tight, being that it was the bottom of a range, and I would have been stopped out.
But do you see where? But I understand if you show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. But do you see where the Elon Musk thing happened exactly the right point in time when we saw the reversal?
So, my opinion
Isn't that
there,
weird?
it is weird, but my opinion there is that you can, if you can understand basically, if you can follow the footprints of the composite operator, that stuff kind of plays out after the fact. So I don't want to really get into like the 1 minute chart idea that I was posting. You know,
where were you posting that on Mitch Ray's channel?
Yeah, I was in the Patreon chat. Basically, what I did was I drew a channel, and it was just an idea that I needed to kind of, you know, just kind of sit and watch. And here you have this supply bar came in on Bitcoin. So what I do is I draw a channel. Okay, this is a notable candle. That to me, you know, there's some pretty darn good price action correlation to that one hour bar. If you draw like a 50% line too, you can see, you know, this is roughly it's roughly the 50% mark. I was zoomed in up here, and there was some upthrusting action going on, basically where the price of, you know, an asset will break out of a channel, and I was watching the 1 minute chart supply come in, and I don't know if I'd be able to like look at it now because, you know, all of the candles, some of them may not be visible, but basically there was a really small range that was either here or here. I'll bet it was up here. But basically there was like a huge price swing, and basically distribution is this wild sequence of events where, you know, you'll have like these low volume runs up, and then you'll get these wild swings where a lot of supply will come in, and, you know, whales or whoever is sitting behind the, you know, the large pockets will sell their position.
Just sell the same amount over and over and over.
Kind of, yeah. And you can watch that happen in the context of these broader ranges. And if they can get the price up to these levels where they're getting people to FOMO in on their Coinbase one-click accounts, you know, then, but also, I mean, I was watching this tightening range here. You had this like wedge action going on.
Yeah.
So I saw this, and I was like, man, that looks pretty tight. And I looked at my supply bar back there, and so I zoomed in. I was like, you know, I want to check out this this price action as it's coming in tick for tick. And yeah, it looked like a nasty upthrust action where, you know, you just had this big sell off, and then like kind of it slowly ticked up, low volume was coming in, and then yeah, I mean, now look where we're at. You can call this a bear flag. You know, you can also call that a ascending wedge too, and your measured move. You know, a measured move is basically where you just take the high to low, and you can, you know, draw it from the breakout. We hit that measured move, and then wicked up, and then we're selling off again. So the range was tightening, and I was thinking, hey, there could be a resolution on this tightening spread after a period of time, and you know, we broke to the downside. So that was what I was looking at back there, and it was just an idea. It wasn't something that I was trading or shorting. I don't even have the ability to short Bitcoin. Not that I ever would, but you know, that.
We mean you don't have the ability. All you gotta do is borrow $100.
Well, I don't have the ability to short Bitcoin like on any of the exchanges that I'm on. So,
Oh, so
yeah,
you're not on BitTube or anything like that?
no, no. I
That's
am.
probably a good thing, guys. I'm not suggesting that either.
I'm a pretty vanilla guy. I just like to. I like to chart. I like to trade stocks. I like to follow Bitcoin. Um, yeah, it's an interesting market. It's a really fun chart to follow. But trading this asset is the big leagues, and I'm just one guy. I'm not. I don't have all the answers. I'm just a basic operator. That's what I call myself. Um, and the stuff again, it's about probability. It's not about certainty. So if you can pick up on these wedges and you can find these up thrusts when they occur, you can kind of develop an edge to the downside or to the upside, and you can identify, hey, this is potentially what the whales could be doing, and there could be resolution to a big wedge like that. And yeah, it played out and it's continuing to the downside, which kind of sucks.
Well, I mean, it's probably good overall for the crypto market, in my opinion.
Hmm.
But looking at DigiByte, I think DigiByte is just going to follow what Bitcoin does, up or down at this point.
It's holding up. I mean, right now with Bitcoin, brushing up against 40,000, I think if in time, if Bitcoin sees, that 35 to 38 mark, DigiByte might, you know, break this range, make a lower low, and
I will straight up, dude. I will straight up put at least $6,000 periodically right in that area of 8 cents.
hmm it's yeah, I
At
mean,
least, I mean,
if,
just a
if
small portion of what I can put in.
yeah, if it's a strategic spot for a trade, and you definitely have an edge, that'd be a good spot. It'd be a value play. So, um, yeah, I mean, you also have just
The trend
DigiByte.
lines itself are breaking down. Like every trend line I make seems to break the next day.
Yeah, the one thing I keep coming back to, and I hate this gap on this flipping chart, but
I don't understand
the
either.
the Bitcoin pair is strong right now, and that's what I'm seeing across the altcoin space. It's like the altcoins they're primed. They're just waiting for Bitcoin to stop selling off. Because I mean, today I think you had I think
I'm surprised that you said that because
Chainlink was up like, yeah, it was up like 15% yesterday. So yeah, these altcoins, as long as Bitcoin stops selling off, they can perform. Um, but structurally, I think DigiByte's okay right now. We could definitely see a deeper retrace because, if I just draw fibs from the swing low to high, we're kind of sitting at the 618 right now. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
it is pretty good, especially when it's like finding itself in that range.
Hmm.
I mean, it's
But
above the 6 point or the 0.618.
hmm yeah, I mean, it's just kind of hanging out right there. So it's sold off some. It's not like Bitcoin.
Don't worry,
Bitcoin's.
man. I'm going to buy some more, so don't worry.
I'm not. I'm not telling anybody to do anything, but
No, I'm just telling you what I'm doing.
yeah,
If
it's
anything. If
yeah,
anything.
yeah, it's definitely at a value area for a trade. I think.
For sure.
Yeah, and
There's a couple of touches there on the
yeah.
man. For some reason, I can't see your chart on the 0.618. Yeah,
Oh, I'm kind of zoomed out here.
on the overlying history there, it's definitely touched it. Even on the wicks on the far left,
Yeah.
we got 1 wick, 2 wick, 3 wick, dip below this 0.618.
Hmm.
Looks good to me to accumulate more, and that's what I did today. I bought periodically at least $1,400.
Hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a low risk spot for an entry for a trade. I would think, and a lot of what Mitch teaches is the low risk, high reward opportunities, and that's utilizing risk management with like a stop loss. If you're taking a position or if you're taking a trade, or if you're just accumulating, this to me, looks like a potential spot for a trade or for a reversal. And it's not, again, it's not certain, but you'd want to place a stop loss in a strategic spot below a support or near a support where you're playing, where like if it falls below that particular price, you want nothing to do with it. But me, I'm a DigiByte holder. I love DigiByte. It's a great chain.
I just continue stacking, man. I
believe
I'm not trading DigiByte, so I don't need a stop loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that I was doing down here at 2 cents. It was like 2 cents and 1 cent.
Keep going back there. Can you find the history on that?
That's the Binance chart. So they
find that history, man. I was kind of surprised when you got into it. So that after that first wave there on the left.
Yeah. So I mean, I understood what the composite operator was doing. I saw this pattern on the chart. I was like, this is a nice reaccumulation pattern. So I did what essentially the smart money was doing, and I just bought and I bought and I bought and I bought. I just dollar cost averaged throughout this whole reaccumulation pattern.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and now I have basically a big bag of DigiByte that I got at a value area, and less than 2 cents or less than 3 cents, people would be filling up their bags right now. If that was the case.
Go left.
There's not much left on this chart.
Well, that sucks. I was buying way before that.
Yeah,
I was buying this whole downward trend right there on the DGBUSD.
Yeah. Yep.
But I didn't nail the 0.00 015 or whatever it was, or 13.
Yeah.
0.0013.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's been doing pretty good this last year. I mean, it's definitely been a really good buy and hold asset for sure. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say as far as DigiByte goes.
I was kind of bouncing my thoughts of what you were showing.
Yeah, definitely. We're just consolidating right now at a really high level. I would just keep track of Bitcoin's performance and watch how the DigiByte to Bitcoin pairing does. Structurally, it's looking a lot better than the US dollar pair. And, we pulled up the DXY and looked at kind of what the DXY was doing. And that might explain a little bit of it, or the psychology behind it, I guess.
I got a question from City Guy Abel here.
Yeah, what's up?
Can you see it?
Yeah, so I didn't see that chart in particular. But yeah, there's potential for the DigiByte chart to be Wyckoff distribution too.
Yeah, I mean, it's current area.
Yeah, it's always the question is it distribution or is it reaccumulation?
I think it's reaccumulation.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way the momentum oscillators look to me right now, you can't get much. Actually, you can get a lot more oversold on the daily. But
so, what does that mean? Does it mean
I looked at Bitcoin too,
or distribution?
That's the question. that's what I think as traders, we're always asking ourselves: is the pattern that I'm looking at, does it have a higher edge for, where does the edge lie? Is it to the upside, or is there downside potential here?
Well, I'm confused because I've been through the same market cycle that you have. Mm-hmm. Okay, studying the previous old cycles, it's just hard for me to believe that it's distribution.
I would definitely agree with you there.
I mean, it's kind of hard to see it.
It is hard to see it, and one of the I think indicators for distribution is a really wide range where you have violent price swings. And this, to me, this, sort of low effort kind of sell off that DigiByte's been going through, to me, it doesn't show a lot of distributional characteristics. This to me looks more like a creek. And that to me says, hey, that is more indicative of a reaccumulation.
Dude, you nailed it with the charts that you were showing previously about an hour ago.
Yeah, it's kind of the same sort of price action that I look for across multiple timescales. It's like violent price swings on high volume versus low volume. I don't see any major signs of weakness on this chart where you have a lot of supply coming in.
No, we won't have a lot of supply coming in for a minute.
I mean, yeah, you would probably see that here on the Binance chart, I would guess. But you have to look at all the pairs, and this is the DigiByte to the US dollar pair, which isn't the most liquid of the charts.
Mm-hmm.
The US dollar tether on Binance is the most liquid. I think it's got, I think I had Masari pulled up. Yeah, here's the list of the exchanges and the pairs it's on. But yeah, I mean, the 24-hour volume on DigiByte to Tether is 18 million. The next one's OKX, and Bittrex is down here at like 1 million for the 24-hour volume. So I take, in terms of like volume signatures, I typically will take the Binance pair, okay, DigiByte to the US dollar tether, as probably a little bit more indicative of price action, just right, because it's the most liquid. But you just have to look at the charts across, these different exchanges and make your best guess as a trader. So, yeah, I just don't like the fact that DigiByte's out of this range. We are kind of at the 618 as support, which is nice. But, if you keep testing the bottom side of this range as resistance and you don't find any ability to break above it or back into it, downside potential. I just think that, resolution to that channel, like we were talking about, could be coming. It's tightening. It's kind of in this channel or in this wedge. And it's pretty tight down here.
I think we're both seeing the same thing, even if I'm calling something else that's not supposed to be called something. But my thing is like what I'm seeing is DigiByte trying to break sideways before, through this reaccumulation. But it all happens to be happenstance with Bitcoin if it wants to dump, which we're seeing it now, slowly but surely. That's your address. I basically highlight on the screen there. So if anybody wants to support Matthew D, he loves DigiByte, loves charting, charts, also for DigiByte. That is his address. Go support him if you find any value here. And where can we find you, bro?
I'm mostly on Discord. I'm not really on Twitter. I'll do a hashtag DGB every once in a while just to like throw support behind, what Jared Tate's saying or what Uscript are saying. But I mean, I can give out my Twitter handle. Let's see.
Yeah, you didn't give me your Twitter handle last time. You're like, what for?
Yeah, I didn't know if you were streaming like through Twitter. That's how little I get on there. But
no, I stream. Yeah, I mean, I stream everywhere, but as long as it's a like a Google browser or whatever it uses.
Yeah, I'll just put my handle in the chat.
Go ahead, man. You already did with your address. I got it posted on the screen. You'd have to go, guys. You'd have to, if you want to support what he just did here. I'll go ahead and support you, Matthew. But if you guys want to support what he did here, and you found some valuable information content, what he's looking at. I do have to say that thank you for being on the DigiByte Comm Talk, and I finally got you on here.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed, having the chance to kind of just show you guys what I love doing. And, I this is the first time I've ever really done something like this where, I like talking with, guys in Mitch Ray's community about this kind of stuff. But, DigiByte TA is like, I got in on that big reaccumulation down at 2 cents. And it was back when Binance first listed DigiByte. And, now look at where we're at. I mean, this is it's a fun asset to trade. I really like using DigiByte. Maybe one day I'll get more into DigiByte community with regards to learning more about the technology. But yeah, it's just a great community. And
well, the community, it doesn't really rely on the technology. The community is a broad expanse of us all trying to figure out who we are. Like, I literally had to draw you here. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Like, you wouldn't even know you had existed if it wasn't for me finding you and knowing who you were on Mitch Ray's channel.
Yeah, definitely. And I really enjoy, just doing TA and looking at charts. And like I said, I'm interested more in kind of pushing the ball forward in my own skill set and try, what's that next thing? What can I get better at down the line? Yeah, I don't know, teaching this stuff maybe, or just continuing to talk about it is something that I really enjoy, because
you might want to do this on a YouTube channel, because like, just film yourself talk and without me interrupting you,
Yeah, maybe that's one idea. Yeah, definitely down the line.
Do it. Get her done.
Definitely. But yeah, thanks for having me on, Script. And yeah, any questions you guys have, just feel free to tweet at me or whatever. Or yeah, I'll
yeah, that's his Twitter panel right there. His handle right there. If you guys want to follow Matthew D, he loves to chart and drop patterns for crypto, and options, obviously, and DigiByte. So, that said, guys, I'm going to have Matthew just wave. No, he can't wave.
I'm waving at the chart. I'm waving at the chart right now. So
you're waving at the chart. All right, Matthew, thank you for coming on the DigiByte Comm Talk. We love you, man. Continue doing what you do. And thank you for teaching us some technical analysis.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Script.